Ladies and gentlemen, rare second video of the day. What is popping? There are just too many topics to cover for Black Friday, so I'm cramming them in to multiple videos a day. Now, before we get into today's video about the crystal cost characters and where I see them in the meta right now, just a heads up, the surprise shop is very good, very spicy. You should absolutely pick up the 200 feathers for 100k gold. That's a no-brainer. I honestly think the second potential realization ticket is also good because it saves you potentially 3 days of waiting for a character that you want to tier 4 or at least take to level 80. You can just do that right away. Just keep in mind it doesn't work on native tier 2s and native tier 3s. And then the 1000 tier 4 materials is a little bit overpriced. I wish it were like $5. I wish it were like half the price or maybe $7. But I still might pick it up, and I think it's worth considering mentally, like in your head, whatever math-wise, if you have a huge discrepancy between Soul of the Faltine and Carbonadium. That's really the only situation. Or if you like desperately need Life Seed, I guess, because you only get to choose 1000 materials of one of the three. You don't get, if you got all three, it's a no-brainer. Everybody should buy it, as long as you spend money in the game, obviously. But since you only get one of the three, I think it's only those two situations to consider. Now, what I wanted to spend the video, and what we're going to spend the rest of the video talking about, is all of the crystal characters. They're all on sale. I believe they're 30% off, and I wanted to talk about them. However, as you can see in my shop, there's only 5. I did a bit of research. Thank you to Ferris981 on the Discord. They sent me a video showcasing that there are a lot of crystal cost characters. I've actually forgotten how many there are because I've unlocked all of them, and a lot of you have unlocked all of them. But crystal characters come in many flavors. And so these are all the flavors. These are all of the costs for all of the crystal characters. I believe there's 21, or right now there's 23 because of Molten Man and Hydro Man, but you should never ever buy those characters for crystals ever. But what I want to do here is I'm going to rank them by their cost. Okay, so we can see how the cost breaks down. And then I'll do a little quick overview on each individual character. But I find this interesting because it allows you to see the characters at a glance, and it allows you to see basically where their value might actually be. And I can also, you know, yell at the camera for a while telling you guys to never ever purchase characters that you can unlock for free, which is crazy. But you can unlock them for free by just playing the game. Some of these characters, as you're going to see, are exclusive to this method of purchasing, which is cringe, but it is what it is. But some of the other ones here are available through other means, so we'll talk about that. Now, yeah, keep in mind for this ranking, for this tier up, all these characters are wearing their latest uniforms, and if they don't have uniforms, they're obviously not wearing one. But they, you know, obviously vary a lot in power level depending on whether they're wearing a uniform or not. In the case of someone like Odin, right? Odin, if you look on this list, he might actually be the strongest character on the list that you can see when it cuts off Silver Surfer and Adam, and he's one of the cheapest. So you're probably thinking to yourself, oh man, that's a great deal. I'll go pick up Odin. Whoa. See, slow down, buddy. You're giving me the coughs. All right, you're not just going to buy him because he's cheap. The uniform is already a year old, and while he's good, don't get me wrong, Odin is good and fun to play and cool looking and has nice animations, there are better options out there. Similarly, if you go up here, you're like, oh man, A-Bomb, that's so cool. Not only is this a 3,000 crystal purchase, but then you also have to have already gotten his seasonal uniform. So Abomination is completely useless unless you have his seasonal, and even then, 3k crystals is a steep price. But hopefully, if you did buy his seasonal and you're picking him up now, you did that rather than picking him up a month ago when his seasonal dropped, or 2 weeks ago when his seasonal uniform dropped, because then you would have purchased him at full price for like whatever, 4,000 or 4,500 crystals. So my general takeaway after doing a bit of specifics on 2 example characters is that most crystal characters are overpriced. As you can sort of plainly see, there are not very many meta characters here. There are a couple, don't get me wrong, but most of the crystal characters are just straight up overrated. So I think that's a pretty good takeaway to start. Secondly, even of the characters that are meta right now, and you could probably argue that there's actually only 2 that are meta, Adam and Silver Surfer, one of them is free. You can actually just go and farm Silver Surfer in GBR. He's just free in the Galactus GBR. So please, God, do not ever purchase Silver Surfer. It is so easy to get him, and you will, it's like you're saving 400 crystals a day. by just going and playing Galactus once and getting one bio. Every single time you collect one bio of Silver Surfer instead of buying him, that's a savings of over 400 crystals. I'm just rounding down for the sake of a round number, but it's actually more than that. That's insane. That's insane. Adam is genuinely, in my estimations, the only crystal character almost any player should consider. There are a couple of exceptions, but I think for the majority of players, at easily 51% of players, which is a majority, they should only be considering buying Adam. Even then, what I would also point out is the team-up collection. Now, Adam is not bad without the team-up collection. He's still strong, but he really benefits a lot from this team-up collection. So if you don't have this, if you're not planning to tier 4 any of these other characters to get those extra tokens and get those extra boosts, you're not going to see as much value, I think, as you would if you had it built up. So I'm a notorious Adam Warlock hater. Okay, I'm not going to spend the whole video shitting on him, but I will admit that he is meta still for PvP, and that he's pretty much the only character here who guaranteed has value, and the only way to get him is through crystals. Do I like Silver Surfer more? Yes, especially with the incoming symbiotes. Is Silver Surfer free? Yes, so he technically shouldn't even be on this list. As far as the Danger Room characters, they're so bad. They're genuinely so bad. Professor X, one of the worst tier 4s. Negasonic, completely useless, desperately needs a uniform and a tier 4. We just talked about A-Bomb. Really, the only crystal character from the Danger Room that costs a whopping 3,000 crystals that you should consider, unless you did the A-Bomb thing, is Rachel. Rachel actually represents more value than Professor X and Negasonic combined. And the reason for that is twofold. One, when every other meta character of the top, let's say 10, are banned, Rachel is actually very frequently used in Otherworld battle. You may not see her. Boom. That's the #1 team. Okay, I was going to say, you may not see her on every team. Some teams you won't see her on because she'll be swapped for Quicksilver, or they'll do like the double zombie. But you will see her on a lot of top teams. That's not a coincidence. She's good. You do need her artifact, though. The artifact is absolutely necessary. So if you have no way of getting Rachel's artifact, then 50% of her value immediately disappears. However, she does have one other piece of value, which is unlocking Madeline Pryor. So if you really want the, redhead goth mommy unlocked on your roster, you do need to get Rachel. And so getting Rachel from the crystal discount is essentially right now is the cheapest time to get Madeline. And you can sort of combo things because you have to spend 7,700 to get Hope if you want to get Madeline. They're going to discount some crystals back to you. They're going to give you about 1,500 crystals back, but the game is still going to calculate it and remember as if you've spent 7,700. Then you go and spend that. You take that 1,500, you put that towards Rachel. So Rachel now is only really costing you 1,500, but the game thinks you've spent over 10,000. Why does that matter? Well, of course, because of the crystal spending event. So by just getting Rachel and Hope right now, with just those two purchases, you can fly through like 12, 14 of these quests and get all of the rewards up to the 10k crystal reward. And then you're not far off from the 15k crystal reward, which is genuinely the last good reward. The uniform ticket at 20 is fine, but spending 5k to save 1k is not so great. So I don't really recommend it unless you, again, are going to spend the crystals anyways. But yeah, the rest of these guys are useless. And then Black Swan, Kang, Mephisto, and Gore. What are you doing? Just go and unlock them from World Boss Legend. They're not that difficult. Work on your cards, work on your swords, get into a level 30 alliance, get some tier 4s. You'll bang out these bosses in no time. They're just like Silver Surfer. So again, every time you beat Black Swan and you get one bio for her, you're saving yourself 300 crystals. Every time with Kang, you're saving yourself 200 crystals. It's just easy peasy. All of these crystal characters down here, these are essentially the only characters that you can't get any other way. Well, that's not true. These ones as well down here, you can't get them any other way. Most of them are bad, and surprisingly, 2 of them are tier 4. As far as like their value goes, it's something like this. Iceman is completely garbage. Sabretooth is barely better. Emma's okay, and she will be good when she gets a tier 4. So you could be purchasing her in anticipation of that happening, especially since she was on that voting list with, Sentry and Null and War Machine. So she should be getting something in the next few months, but we don't have any clues as to what that could be. Is it going to be X-Men 97? Is it going to be Hellfire Part 2? We have no idea. So it is a bit of a gamble if you buy her now and you are locking up a lot of crystals. Just keep in mind with these crystal characters, Once you buy them, you can be prompted to buy them again and again from the thing to like from the same situation in order to unlock their bios. Mine here is showing a lower amount. It's not showing 1750 because 1750 is the initial purchase price, and then it's going to drop down to 875, which is discounted right now for just bios. You can see it's 160 Blue Dragon bios and some other things, and it's the same thing for all of them. It's just 160 Emma Frost bios. You do not want to do this. This is horribly priced. What you want to do, of course, is you want to use tickets, right? You want to use rank up tickets, mega rank up tickets, mega tier 2 tickets, mega tier 3 tickets, whatever, so that you can skip the bio portion of the rank ups for those characters to save yourself more crystals. Mephisto and Gore, same shit here, guys. You just unlock them for free. Super easy bosses, way easier than Black Swan and Kang. Just unlock them for free. Never ever spend money on this. It's crazy that they do this. It's not crazy. It's for like giga whales who don't care, but I still am not a big fan of it. Odin and Dormammu and Arachnite, White Fox, and Wave are honestly the most kind of... These ones kind of bum me out because, well, not in the same way. The bottom three used to be unlockable through the heroic quest. This is technically sort of cheaper than it was before because the heroic quests were never discounted. They were 750 crystals. You had to do 3 weeks worth of quests, sort of like dailies. It required a lot of like tedium. It was a lot of tedium. So yeah, you're spending an extra 300 crystals now, but you got all that tedium out of the way, and you can just boom, you can just grab the character. Keep in mind, White Fox is a seasonal uniform, so that matters. Arachnite got one last year. He's probably not going to ever get one again, maybe, but he's not very good. And then for Dormammu and Odin, Dormammu's just waiting for his Odin glow up to tier 4. He will be good when he gets that. He has a very strong leadership for PvP, but right now he's just absolutely in the dirt. So, you know, take a mental screenshot here because we're about to shuffle this list around for where I would rank them in terms of their value. All right, and there you go. This is how it shakes out. So you have one meta character that you should consider for crystal purchases, which is Adam. You have Odin, who's good for crystals. You have Rachel, Blue Dragon, Mystique, and Wave, who are decent. Honestly, Wave's value has decreased over time as stronger supports like Coulson and stuff, you know, find their way into the meta, get to tier 3, etc. You have the 2 seasonal uniforms, the only one's worth a shout. I know Iceman's is seasonal, but he's terrible. All of these characters are bad. I know some people will disagree with me on Professor X, Emma, and Sabretooth, but there's no way that they're bringing as much value to your roster as any of these guys, so they don't deserve to be on the same tier. And then for anything, for everything, please just pay attention to these guys. Do not spend crystals on these 5. Just unlock them for free. So if we go back and forth really quickly, you can see how many of these characters, literally the vast majority, are just not worth it at all for crystal purchases. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Make wise decisions for yourself and for your account. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, or the thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.